Frequency Matters, the RF and Microwave Update series. I'm Pat Hindle. I'm here with my co-host Gary LaRude. In this episode, we're going to cover our July software and design issue products. And as a reminder, the cover feature is about measurement-based simulation written by experts from AMCAD Engineering. They go over an active phased array system and how it's simulated, and they use very accurate behavioral models based on measurement. And they go through that process and have a focus on the amplifier. So Gary, what did we have for product features in July?
Well, we have one product feature which covers an upgrade to the SynMatrix platform. They have added the capability to automatically create 3D RF filter models in HFSS. And the automatic modeling feature supports coaxial cavity, rectangular waveguide, and cylindrical waveguide filters. The workflow is flexible and it can be customized for any filter that uses a specific 3D geometry. How about tech briefs, Pat?
So we had two. One was a packaged MMIC components that aid millimeter wave development from Hasco in California, and also ultra high resolution RF chipset for automotive imaging radar from RB Robotics in Israel. And turning to the news, RB also announced that they have released the industry's first surround imaging radar. It enhances perception and sensor fusion. It has a 360-degree long-range sensing suite of high-resolution imaging radars. So we're really seeing a lot of activity here, these 4D imaging radars going into commercial production. And also, the Farnborough Air Show is going on this week, so there were a ton of A&D news. So I'm going to run through a bunch of them really quickly. Mercury Systems announced that they've been selected by Leonardo UK to provide multiple radar test and simulation systems to the factory test Leonardo's innovative E-scan radar. BAE is working with Team Tempest, which also includes the Ministry of Defense and UK Air Combat, Leonardo UK, Rolls-Royce, and MBDA UK. And the Tempest is their 6th generation jet fighter, so they're incorporating a lot of new technologies like deep learning AI, ability to fly unmanned, swarming drones, directed energy weapons, virtual cockpit in the helmet, and hypersonic weapons. The U.S. Marine Corps has also achieved a breakthrough in the integration of Rafael's Iron Dome ground launcher and the Tamir interceptor missile, and they've incorporated that into the Marine Corps' medium-range capability prototype with the Gator radar system and CAC-2S battle management system, so they're successfully able to do this. Raytheon Missiles and Defense, in partnership with Northrop Grumman, they successfully completed their second flight test of the scramjet-powered hypersonic air-breathing weapon concept for DARPA and the Air Force. That's a mouthful. And also, L3Harris Technologies awarded a contract to build the Space Development Agency's Tranche 1 Tracking Layer Satellite program to serve as eyes in the skies in detecting and identifying and tracking advanced missile threats, and that's a $700 million contract. And finally, Boeing and the U.S. Navy announced that they've completed a series of manned and unmanned teaming flight tests in the Block 3 FA-18 Super Hornet and successfully demonstrated command and control of 3 unmanned aerial vehicles. So you're going to see this in the future where one plane will be able to also control a few UAVs with it and be able to perform various maneuvers with them. So Gary, how about you? What did you see in the news?
Well, I have a couple of items not related to Farnborough. The CHIPS for America Act, and if you were wondering, that stands for Creating Helpful Incentives to Produce Semiconductors. That appears poised to pass in the Senate, likely in the coming week, and then be approved by the House. The legislation provides at least $52 billion in incentives to strengthen semiconductor manufacturing in the U.S., including a 25% tax credit and about $1.5 billion to encourage wireless competition against foreign companies like Huawei. These numbers may change as the Senate is still tinkering with the framework, but something like this appears to be ready to pass in the coming week. And then the second item, if you haven't taken time to look at the initial images from the James Webb Telescope and think about what they show us about the stunning formation of the universe, you really should. The engineering that made this possible and the science and understanding that will come from this mission is astounding. You can get to the images on Flickr or from the Webb website at webb.nasa.gov.
And turning to events, the IEEE EMC plus Signal Integrity Power Integrity Symposium is taking place August 1st through the 5th in Spokane, Washington. And at the end of September, we also have two shows, the Mobile World Congress Americas in Las Vegas and European Microwave Week again in Milan. And of course, they're the same week, so we won't be able to attend both, but maybe we'll split up. But I think I'll take Milan over Las Vegas.
Well, certainly the strong turnout for IMS in Denver should give European Microwave Week in Milan a nice boost, encouraging more engineers to attend and more companies to exhibit. And before we conclude today's episode, a couple of reminders. You can get a free subscription to Microwave Journal if you work in the industry. Go to microwavejournal.com, look for the magazine tab, and then select subscribe. Also, we're always looking for interesting technical articles to publish, so if you'd like to write about the story of your design, please send an abstract or an outline to either Pat or me. Our sponsor for this episode is RFMW, a distributor focused on RF, microwave, and millimeter wave components from the leading players in the industry. Start your next design by calling on RFMW. And we appreciate the continuing support from Joel, Steve, and the full RFMW team. Thanks for watching or listening to the podcast. We'll be back in another couple of weeks with another episode.